Hello, welcome to Practically Magic. I am one of your hosts, Courtney Pearl,
I'm Jaime Osbar.
and already I'm going to fix the angle on the camera just a little bit because we're kind of like off-centered, but
You can see the beautiful advent calendar.
I know! We are going to talk about Yule today. Like, how cute.
I literally spent my entire Thanksgiving putting this
Put this together.
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice Thanksgiving.
I had a table set out in my living room, all of the boxes set out, all of the things I was filling it with, all the little tags so that everybody knows what's in it. And I put on Stranger Things.
Oh, yep.
And my husband made Thanksgiving dinner. And literally, this is what I did.
Figured out.
My whole day.
You're like, sorry, honey, can't find the kitchen. Got these advent counters. I got to get ready for the shop.
Oh, yeah. No, he's totally understanding. He's been such a great
Love
support.
I have an aunt who she got really into Lego building.
Mm-hmm.
And so she made that her Thanksgiving tradition is to buy another Lego piece to her like Lego Christmas Village or whatever. So then they sit and do Legos on Thanksgiving Day. I know.
That's so fun. I love Legos.
I want that to be my tradition.
I have probably 5 large sets that I need to put together. So yeah, I fought the whole night right before Christmas.
Of course.
2.5 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Just sitting in my room.
We'll find time. In fact, that's what Yule's all about. We're going to talk about Yuletide. We're going to talk about traditions and healing cycles and all of the things coming up for this season that you're going to need to know. And a little bit of fun folklore stuff that I've been researching and discovering that's really fun. So I brought my Yule Season of the Witch Oracle. It has the green foil on the side. Oh, they're so lovely. So they're gonna be set up on my altar. And before we recorded, I pulled a card, Reindeer Medicine. I'm gonna read it to you. I'll show you the picture. For those who are watching on YouTube, you can see.
It's a reindeer with big antlers, and in the middle of the antlers is the full moon.
Oh, so the full moon coming up too. Journey into the depths of your soul, an awakening of sights revealed. It is time for no time at all, for all is presently here. Ooh. Wow. I love that. So it's very applicable to the season because it's about being present in the moment. And I cannot say it enough. We have gotten into a space as a society where that's not what we allow to happen at this time of year. We do not allow us to be present. We say, all of these to-do lists and all of these obligations, and we've created more and more over the years. I mean, I have already gotten my first holiday card.
Oh my goodness.
I know. A friend of mine is so on top of it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't do one last year. We took pictures in the fall last year, and I never did a card. And I kept thinking, you know what? I'm just going to do like a New Year's card. I'll do it like in January. I don't have to do it in December. And then I just never got around to it.
Yeah.
So that whole tradition, that whole thing, the feeling of like, oh my gosh, I have to do this too because everyone else is doing it and I'm getting cards in the mail. So now I better have cards in the mail, and keeping a list of everybody's current addresses so that you can say, oh my gosh,
It's awful.
it stresses me out. And I'm not good at cards. We have grandmas, my kids' grandmas and my grandmas that were so good at cards.
Yeah.
Birthday cards.
Well, now we have social media.
Cards.
Everything's on social media. You just go on social media and you say, blast this message to everybody I know and look at this picture of our family and happy holidays.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it so simple, but it's also very impersonal. It's very...
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the cards are definitely more, especially handwritten cards that are like, I am thinking about you. I hope your family is well or whatever.
Here's all the things that are happening with me and my family.
Yeah. I mean, I love the idea of that and would love to engage with that if I could and allow myself to have the time. And again, the stillness and the presence of now. That's kind of what this time and winter is all about. Mm-hmm. I want you to think about, if you can visualize in your mind, what it's like when a nice fresh blanket of snow covers the earth. You wake up and you look out your window or you look out in your yard and what it feels like, that silence that comes from the snow, because it muffles all sound and the birds have all flown for the winter and it's just kind of just silence. That is, I think, a reflection.
Let's finish that out. Oh my gosh. Oh, I think I'm allergic to snow. Even just talking about it, I'm like, get it away from me.
I have not always been a fan. I was in Arizona and Phoenix for those good 7 years, and I loved it. I'm not gonna lie. I came back to Utah being like, no, thank you. I hate this. I hate every second of it. But in trying to engage more in my natural environment and what it's helping me understand or how it's reflecting what I need, that has helped, because I can go, okay, this is just what this phase is about, and this is what I'm supposed to be getting from this.
So I think when you're describing the scene, the snow fell, it's white, it's quiet, it's calm. If you could stay in that, right? If you could just stay home.
Yeah,
just
stay home
and just, enjoy the quiet and the peacefulness that comes with that. But that's immediately just ripped out from underneath you because you're like, oh, I have to go to work. Oh, I have to go run these errands, and I have to take my kids to school, and I have to do all of these things. So that moment that you appreciate, that you wish you could like extend, is like, because of the world that we live in, the way that it runs, it's like just a fleeting moment. It's not a moment that we can really treasure and appreciate for a long period of time. It's, oh, this is going to really ruin my day.
Yeah. And I would just invite people to be mindful of it as you go into the season. And maybe this should have been the message weeks ago, but as you go into the season, which again lasts all the way till February. So as we're talking about this, as Christmas and Yule are coming up, it's being mindful of my schedule, my time, and my obligations, and giving yourself permission to say no to as much as possible. Yeah, you probably will still have to go to work and all those things, right?
But for sure, yes.
There are obligations you do have to do to like live. But remember, there's shorter and shorter days until the winter solstice. And then you have the shortest day of the year, the longest night of the year. The daylight is a reflection on how much productivity is being asked of us. So in our natural rhythms, it's important to say, okay, the sun is coming up later and going down earlier. That means I don't have to kill myself all day. This is an invitation to let that darkness in, to rest. So I'm just going to help. I just want to ask people to be mindful of that. And I love the Reindeer Medicine card, because there's a lot of folklore around the reindeer is the one who all of the forest animals are scared because the darkness is coming more and more. And the reindeer says, okay, I will go to the center of the earth and find the light, and brings the light back in his antlers. And so that's what I thought of when I saw this, and the full moon in the antlers is like bringing the sun back for the animals and for the earth, and to say winter solstice being a celebration of the return of the sun. So this has been the descent period. We have, from Samhain to Yule, we're talking about death a lot. It's this time of letting things die, letting the darkness and the shadows in, being aware of what our shadow selves are. And then Yule, or winter solstice, is about, okay, the darkness has hit its peak. Longest night, and then the sun returns. So a lot of symbols for that celebration were circles. That's where we get the wreath. It's a symbol of the sun. And again, you can kind of see where the translation over time came from the birth of the sun, S-O-N, at Christmas.
S-U-N.
Instead of S-U-N, the sun is returning, right? So there's a lot of symbolism there in the cultures, folklore, mythology, even pre-Christian, had to do with the birth of a wonder child. There was this birth of a child that was going to save the world or was going to bring about the wonder and be a miracle of some sort and prophecies. So I was writing down some notes about that, kind of being translated into modern culture, thinking how we go into this descent into the darkness. So it's like the hero's journey of going into the forest or into a cave. You're confronting your own demons or your own self. And you see this in like Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. You see Frodo Baggins. You see Harry Potter. A lot of times, like when they go to face their challenge, it's a reflection of themselves somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. Very
It's
symbolic.
an invitation to look within.
Yeah.
As it were. Yeah. A couple of the other things that I love. The story of Caradwen. We talked about it at Witch's Night Out. So you know the story of Caradwen. She is the witch who brews Awen in her cauldron. Witch, goddess, lady. However, mythology tends to translate that. But the cauldron that she's brewing Awen is the cauldron of transformation. So it's very much a symbol of like the womb. So this is very much about going back into the womb and being rebirthed. We're getting ready to be rebirthed.
Mm.
So there's a lot of like the cocoon, you're cocooning to become a butterfly. And then the healing cycles, this is associated a lot with the time of the dark night of the soul. A lot of people talk about that. And that doesn't have to happen in winter. That's just the wintering of your life. Like,
Yeah.
you go through a cycle where you're like, this sucks. Whatever's happening to me right now, it's changing me from my very core inside out. And it's not always comfortable. It's very hard. But going through that experience is kind of like going into the cocoon and restructuring your entire being into what you're going to become when you come out of it.
Mm.
So that's the symbol and cycle of winter. We talked about it being associated with the root chakra and grounding. It's the alchemical phase of calcination, which is the burning down of materials into something new. So again, it's like you're really sitting in it.
Yeah.
Letting yourself burn away into that. And then one of my favorites, I tell my kids this story at this time of year. It's also associated in the Celtic calendar with the battle of the Oak King and the Holly King. So they have this year-long tussle between each other. And it's the time when the Holly King falls and the Oak King rises. So you're like coming back to the spring is going to come next or goes into that period. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And as you're talking, it's so interesting because I think I refer to this a lot, but it still blows my mind every time we do this. We sit down, we have a theme. We talk about which crystal should we talk about. It's not always predetermined what we're going to talk about. And today we're just like shooting the shit, just kind of like setting things up. And I was looking at the crystals and I was like, I don't know, let's talk about Malachite. And you're like, oh, sounds good to me. I don't know a lot about it, but let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So this is what's so interesting is as you're describing and talking about all of these things, do you know what Malachite is for?
I saw luck.
Yes. So anything green is going to be good for luck, but it's also about manifestation, transformation, change. So Malachite is known to absorb negative energies and pollutants and attunes to spiritual guidance, encourages risk-taking and change, breaks bad ties and outworn patterns, and teaches how to take responsibility. It balances mood swings and boosts the immune system. Its affirmation is, I welcome new challenges with curiosity and excitement.
Yeah.
So like, as you're talking about this and like the word transformation just kept coming to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So this crystal is like so perfect.
It is.
And then like the grain on the outside of your cards was
I know.
like the grain with this. So
It's very Christmas.
yeah, this is an amazing crystal. And a lot of people love Malachite. I sold through a lot of my small pieces of Malachite very, very quickly.
I think this is perfect.
But yeah, it's amazing because it's grounding. It's very earthy.
Yes.
It's all about like good luck and transformation and I don't know if the patterns on Malachite or you could just sit and look at Malachite for
I
hours.
see the tortoise shell and kind of like
There was one that I got in this last bag of tumbles that I bought. And I always go through and I sort them, make sure that they're all like good quality and things like that. But there was one that was literally like in 4 and it looked like a turtle shell.
oh my gosh, that's so cute.
I almost kept it, but I didn't. And then when someone came in and bought it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's the coolest piece. But yeah, it's such a beautiful, like we usually talk about the crystal at the end, but like I felt like it fit where we're talking about it right now. So
Yeah.
yourself some Malachite.
And there's actually something I want to say when I saw luck on there. Well, okay, let me back up just a second. Because the green, let's talk about the green color of the Malachite for a second. In that, the association with green in Christmas time, which I love all the great reels and memes coming out on social media that are like Christians talking about how they don't celebrate anything pagan and then they're decorating their Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And I love the jokes, guys. If you haven't heard them, hear them here today because it's ridiculous.
Yes.
Acting like they're above or separate from pagan symbols or traditions when so much of it came from pre-Christian era and was kind of like, well, we can't kill this in people, so we'll just have to adopt it.
Yes.
And we grew up in a culture where you go to Mormon church and you go to Christmas time activities and stuff. And I don't know if you got this, but I remember them like passing out like a series of Christmassy type symbols or things and having an association with it to Jesus. Like the candy cane represents the shepherd's hook or whatever.
Oh my God.
Which I'm like, cute,
but not
but
real.
and everyone's welcome to translate and change, and that's kind of what culture is all about. It's about taking things and changing them and adapting them, but in just the spirit of history. In that, like, the Christmas tree, bringing in or not always necessarily bringing into your house, but just decorating the evergreen tree and really making that a symbol of hope and life, even in your darkest times, that they stay green throughout the winter. So even when there is scarcity, even when there is difficult times, there's this green, there's this hope. And so the Malachite being kind of a symbol, bringing in that green and what that symbolizes is so cool. Heart chakra stuff.
Yeah.
Love and the unconditional love of, the savior or whatever your belief system is.
The time of the year when it's so easy to focus outward, right? To show your love to the people around you by gift giving and spending time with them. Things like that, I think, are very symbolic of that heart chakra. I have this conversation with a lot of people when they come in and they're like, what do you have that's like good for self-love? Or they'll pick up a crystal and I'll be green or I'll be pink and they'll be like, what is this good for? And, I'll be like, okay, so anything green and pink is going to be very connected to our heart energy, our heart chakra. It's not just about love in general. It's about loving yourself, loving others, accepting love from others, and showing that and cycling through that and actually appreciating that energy, right? Because a lot of times it's just a given for some people. And I've been seeing a lot of this too, because there's a lot of childhood trauma for me that comes up around families and how we show love to each other. So a lot of that's been coming up for me on things that pop up in my social media. But like being able to understand that love shows itself in different ways and being able to appreciate that and accept it.
Yeah.
Or if it doesn't resonate, being able to reject it and saying, this is not how I want to be loved. I need this from you. And if you're not able to provide that to me, then this relationship doesn't work.
Yeah.
Rather than just saying, oh, that person, that's just how they are and I have to accept that.
Yeah.
And you can, but that doesn't mean you have to allow that in your life.
Right.
Like,
Your boundary can be like, okay, be who you are and do what you do. I have to do around it.
Right.
And that's perfectly reasonable and acceptable. But I have always said to people, when it comes to love, and I think this actually might be perfect because this time of year, Yule, it often invites a lot of family time. We have a lot of pressure to like spend time together with our family. And that's not just Christmas. That's, imagine our ancestors wintering throughout the winter. You would be better off coming together, probably spending the winter all together in one house, or like pulling resources together. It was time to close in, right? A village or a family would close in and take care of each other for the winter. They weren't doing a lot of traveling. They weren't going from village to village. There wasn't trade happening. There wasn't any of that. It was like, okay, we're hunkering down for the winter. So that means you're spending time with a lot of people, with a lot of different ways of, again, showing love. But I have had healing sessions with people where I invite them to understand that love is not, it's not given and exchanged with people. It's felt within.
Right.
Which means that in healing ways that we feel loved, or in healing ways that we have always wanted love, and coming into a place of acceptance about that, technically, you can decide to feel loved no matter what. Like, even if that person is abusing you and screaming at you, you can be like, "Aw,
That's not a reflection of
Love.
who I am."
yes,
That's what's hard, and what we're conditioned is to take that inward.
Yeah.
And then shame
oh,
ourselves.
that means that I'm bad.
I deserve to be treated this way.
right."
When in reality, even if that person is acting out and doing these things towards you, that doesn't mean that you deserve it.
Right. And
And you
sometimes,
still love yourself.
yes,
And that's what's hard.
that's what's so important.
It's important, but it's so
It's
hard.
so hard.
Yeah.
Because you're battling all those traumas and all those triggers and all of those things that have made you seek love or understand love up until now. So I do preface this with saying, I'm not saying anybody should accept abuse.
No.
That you absolutely can hold a boundary and say, I'm not accepting that. I decided to love myself enough to not be around that. And that's great. I absolutely applaud that. And I do understand too that it is so hard to be around people who trigger you like that, who trigger you in any way, and say, I'm going to decide not to let it bother me, not to let it mean anything about me. I've decided that I'm going to see it as love. That when my mother criticizes everything I do, and it's so normally, I would feel so degraded and so shamed and so, I'd really take that in about me to mean something about me. If I do the work, if I heal enough to be aware of how that makes me feel, of how I don't have to let it make me feel that way, how I can decide something different, I can experience my mother in a different way. I could say, okay, she's going to criticize me. And maybe she's criticizing me because she does actually love me.
Yeah.
Maybe in her way and with her neural pathways and her triggers and her life experiences and her burdens and whatever she had growing up, that's just how she shows love. And so if I could just see it that way, she can criticize me all she wants. It's not even I'm just going to go, thanks, Mom. I choose not to take any of that criticism.
Yeah.
I choose not to change anything about me. I choose not to listen to it. But also, I'm just going to see it as your way of loving me.
Yeah.
And if I did choose to see that, it might change our whole relationship. And when I change how I interact with that, it may possibly even affect how she interacts with me. So that at some point she's like, oh, you've been too critical. Maybe I should back off. I don't know. It might change the dynamic because I decided to step out of it and not choose to interact with it in that way.
And learning about that here and now, rather than when it's quote unquote too late, because I learned this about my own grandmother. She was very, very critical of me. At least I felt that way. I don't know if that was her intention or what it was, but she was always like, why can't you be more like this person? Why can't you do it this way? And she was always questioning me. And in the moment, I felt like she was disappointed in me and I could never achieve what she was expecting of me. And she's been she's left the earth quite a few years ago, I think about 15 years ago. And as I'm going through this healing journey and she presents herself and she's here to support me through the healing that I'm doing, I'm realizing that wasn't her being mean and critical of me. That was her seeing what I was capable of.
Yeah.
And in a not so helpful way,
Right.
trying to like show it
A
in like,
human ego way.
Right.
It presented itself that way.
basically saying, I know you can do more.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you're not good enough right now, but why are you settling? And why are you not trying to grow and do more?
Mm-hmm.
So I think now that I'm trying that and I'm healing and I'm growing and I'm breaking these cycles.
Yes.
She's like, yes, this is what I wanted. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So she's there and she's supporting
Yeah.
and she's holding my hand, not physically, but like through all of this. And it's really crazy to have that special connection to her now that she's on the other side, that I have a hard time going, I wish I would have seen that when she was still here. But I think that was part of my lesson, part of my growth was learning that and now being able to experience that connection to her. I think it's beautiful. But it is possible to experience that here and now while we're still on the earth together with people, creating that ability to say, I see you, I hear how you treat me, and I don't see that as a reflection of me. I see that as a reflection of you and things that you need to heal in yourself. And as you work on yourself and you heal yourself, it's amazing to see how that opens up the pathway for others to heal themselves without even going, you have shit you need to work on.
No, yeah.
You don't have to do that. It's just showing people, hey,
It's amazing.
I worked through this and you might have things you need to work through too. If I can do it, you can do it too. Right? It's setting an example without
seeing,
like,
oh my gosh, there's you stepping into such an authenticity, I am who I am and I don't apologize and I'm stepping into my best self and just doing that because you want to live that way.
right.
And the people around you just experiencing that with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. And I've said that to so many clients because I have clients, and even potential clients, people who want to come and do sessions with me, but they'll be like, oh, I usually can see you, but you know what? I want my boyfriend to come see you. And I get that all the time. And I go, it would be amazing to focus on yourself and to say, I want this for me. I want to be a better me. I want to feel better in my own skin. I want to feel healed. I want to see myself, all the parts of myself, and love all those parts of myself, even the ugly ones, even the shadows and the demons and the whatever we call them. I want to love all of it. And if you work on that, there's no telling what will happen with the people around you. Really, it is magic. It is practically magic. I'm just going to say. So I think Yule is a perfect time for that. I think it's a perfect season because it's confronting all that. It's confronting the ugliness and sometimes it is because it triggers off family members and you're all gathering at the hearth fire for the season and that's great. But you be aware of what is coming up. You'll be like, ooh, yeah, my brother coming to dinner and saying these words to me is, that's a no-go. I don't love it. So I invite you, again, you have a lot of assignments in this episode. I invite you to be aware of that. I invite you to actually, when you do feel triggered by family members and you have that going on, I want you to use this phrase. That's interesting. And that's it.
But
just that.
Some information. Thanks for the information.
I'll hold on. I'll keep that in mind. I'll put a pin in that for my healing work this year. What's going to come up for me and what I need to work on. And that's it. Not, it means something about me. I have to let it mean something about me. Just, that's interesting. Those words that person just said really triggered me. Mm-hmm. I'm feeling real angry about it right now. And annoyed and irritated and triggered. Just all the things. So yeah, I think that's awesome. Man, we touched on so much already just there.
Yeah.
In what this season's about. And but I wanted to circle back to the Malachite and the luck because I was listening to a really interesting podcast they were doing not to throw out the resources of where I've gotten this information, because I like to throw to who is inspiring me. But I love learning about folklore and the traditions around the time of year. And for Icelandic and Nordic areas of the world, there is a lot of emphasis around Yuletide. I mean, it's one of the biggest celebrations of the year. So there's a lot of great, juicy folklore and traditions and things that came from that I think is just fun. It makes kind of the season magical. So Santa Claus, I was listening to them talk about how Santa Claus might have most likely originated before St. Nicholas from gnomes.
Mm.
Do you remember David the Gnome? Did you ever watch that show? It was like a cute little cartoon show in the 80s, and it was on like Nick Jr. in the 90s.
Oh, so you have to have all cable?
Yeah, for us rich folks. I don't know if I had cable back then. We got it eventually at some point.
Yeah,
but
I did too, but I don't remember the show. So
anyway, look it up. It's adorable. It's this little gnome named David and his little cute little wife, and they live like in a tree or something in a little. I always loved it because it looked all cozy and cute, and it was like everything was made of wood, and it was, like their beds and their dressers and drawers and stuff were all carved into the house, so it was kind of a Hobbit type house.
Yeah.
It was adorable. I thought it would be so fun to live there. And they had this little fox friend. So gnomes back, in the culture were really prevalent because, they were known to have little pointy hats. They were these little creatures. They lived in the trees. And so when people would cut down trees to build their homes, they had a tradition of leaving offerings to the gnomes in case any of those trees were their homes. They would leave food out for them and show that they were friendly and that they welcomed the gnomes into their home. And if you did that, if you appeased the gnomes, they would become your house's protective spirit. Because they were like protective spirits, nature spirits, right? They would protect the trees. So it became kind of this tradition to like leave out food, leave out offerings to the gnomes, and they would always be your home's protector. They would do things for you. They especially loved children, so they would leave little gifts for children.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the folklore of Santa kind of came from. So it wasn't one man going from house to house. It was like every home had their own gnome or house spirit.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Because one person traveling throughout the whole world in one night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not going to happen.
I mean, and then, like, when you're trying to kind of sell that to your kids, it gets harder.
They get older and they start to learn about math and they're doing story problems. And they're like, so if Santa had to travel this many miles and this many hours, how would that work? It's magic.
It's just magic.
It's just magic.
Just leave it at that.
Just have to believe that. And it's like, yeah.
But in this case, it was culturally accepted magic. Like this was something that, every family kind of understood and knew about. The Fae folk in Celtic traditions and Nordic traditions, it was real to everyone. I mean, it's interesting to me to see how in some places in Northern Europe, those otherworldly creatures were very mischievous and almost dangerous, and you really didn't want them in your house. And in other places, it was like, they're our friends, and we just have to show respect to them so that they all, help us and do those things. But you can see how that evolved into the elves that work for Santa and help make the toys, and then he brings the toys to the children. And St. Nicholas was associated with that
And he gets all the glory.
He gets all the glory, I guess. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. That's interesting to hear the stories about where things came from. I never really thought about it. And as I'm going through this more spiritual awakening and learning that the things that I learned growing up that never really resonated or settled well with me, the traditions that still kind of carried on into my family, but I was like, I don't know. We're just kind of going through the motions. So learning more about like where the Christmas tree came from, what the star meant, the ornaments that the pagans would hang on their trees were actually for protection and abundance, and like they had a purpose. It wasn't just like, let's throw a bunch of ornaments on this tree so it looks pretty.
Right.
Actually functioned and brought in a certain type of energy.
And they used to hang bread on the apple trees as a tradition of blessing the trees. I think the bread also helped feed the birds and things like that. There's probably a lot of reasons, but they would hang bread and pour apple cider on the roots and sing to the apple trees. This would happen in January, typically during the Yuletide season. And it was called wassailing.
Oh.
So they would go around, it's like caroling, but it's blessing. It's blessing each other. So there's a wassailing song that we learned at Nourishing Kin that I remember exactly how it goes, but it kind of talks about we bless the trees, we bless the abundance, we bless, just so that those trees would produce fruit again next year. Like it was all about like, oh, we can survive another year. So, they're blessing the trees, but then they also turn to each other. So it says, bless the trees, bless each other, bless the community, bless, all of us. And so that's where bustling started and came from. And
It feels so much better rather than just like singing praises to one being and saying this one being, if we send all of our blessings and praises to this one being, then that being will bless us with all the things we need.
Yeah.
That never really sat well with me. So I think like if you're blessing where it's actually coming from, you're blessing the earth, you're blessing the tree, you're blessing the people around you, you're actually like creating community and a space for people to gather and take care of each other and say, we're all going to bless each other's trees. We're all going to bless each other's physical form. We're all going to bless this. And then we're going to come together and take care of each other.
Yes.
This is not like, oh, please, whatever you are up there, I'm going to put all my faith and all of my energy into hoping that you bless me.
Yeah.
And then if you don't, well, then I must not have deserved it. And it's like it's such a vicious cycle of shame. And it just comes down to that. That's why I never really understood, never really like sat with it and tried to figure it out. It was more just like, that doesn't make sense to me. I don't like it. So go away. Yeah. So now that I'm sitting with a lot of these things and saying, okay, it didn't resonate, but why? Why didn't it resonate? Let's learn about why it didn't resonate.
It puts us so far separate, I think, from it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's been a few centuries of
conditioning.
Yeah. Propaganda, I like to call it.
Yeah.
Of like, we are separate from the earth and from wild and from nature and from our natural bodies. We are spiritual beings connected to God and therefore ascended from these other things. Like that's a lower thing than what we
created all these things.
Yeah.
So God created
all of them, but we're
better than it.
Yeah. It's kind of that whole thing. And I think I see it then when you get to a point where now people are questioning a lot of religious theology because they're going, I don't resonate with that. I don't understand. I don't feel God. I just watched Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, that's on Netflix. Anyway, obviously it's a very well-known book. People have been reading it for decades. But I just watched the show with my son because he's in 6th grade. And I was like, you should watch this with me and see what girls are going through at your age. The whole maturation and, the whole book is about how she's like getting ready for a period. It's awesome. But she's doing a research on religion. So she's going to, like, her grandmother's Jewish. She goes to synagogue with her grandmother. She tries to go with her friends, different Christian denominations or churches, and at one point she's like, I don't feel God anywhere. I've gone to all these churches. I don't feel God there. Mm-hmm. And then when she gets her period, she's like, dear God, at the end. And I was like, maybe it's her. Like maybe she discovered that God's not in the church. It's always with her. And it's part of her natural being.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The way that we exist should include that feeling, whether you want to call it God or source or whatever it is.
Yep.
The higher goddess, it's our higher selves. I think that's where it separates it as they create this being was created instead of saying this goodness, this light lives within each one of us, and we should tap into
And
that.
in the trees, and in here,
Right.
and in
Everywhere. But let's take all of that and create this one or three, however you want to look at it, beings that we need to take all of this love and faith and put it into them.
Yeah.
Rather than into ourselves and into what exists around us. That's, I don't know. When you say it like that, it's like, duh.
I know. Well, I mean, again, the propaganda, the tradition, it's like God is a being. You have to believe that. You know, it's been drilled for a lot, not just in our lifetime, but generations and generations and generations of it. So you see the effects of it, and we're still deconditioning that. We're still like, wait, do I do that because I think it's right, or do I do that because I was taught that's what I was supposed to do? Yeah. We're still doing that. We're still working on that. So keep working on it.
Yes.
I have to throw back because I forgot to say that because Malachite is about luck.
Yes.
The gnomes that are in your home bringing luck. That's where that was supposed to come around. I forgot to say that part. Like, just have to touch on that for a second.
Yeah.
So you guys aren't sitting at home going, what is she talking about? Why did she tell us all that?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. It all comes full circle. It's so interesting. So do the traditions that are meaningful to you, or what doesn't feel like an obligation, but feels like this feels right to me.
Good. It flows naturally.
Just this morning, actually, I saw a post where it was one of those like general Facebook posts that somebody did. We're like, what Christmas traditions do you absolutely hate and would get rid of, or something? And it was funny to read the comments because people were like, right, Carrie? I'm like, I understand that. And then I saw this woman posted, I only do Jesus. That's all she wrote.
Oh, that could be taken in a lot of different ways.
The replies. Oh my God, it was so funny. I was about to get on there and reply, but then I saw people already already on it. They were like, lucky Jesus. Someone else wrote kinky.
Oh my gosh.
It's just like, thank you.
I only do Jesus. Okay, well, you do you, babe.
Yeah, and again, I, as a sort of Gnostic Christian, or at least, fluent in that, I do still teach my kids the Jesus story and the nativity and the, but I teach it along with, again, like the return of the sun and the mythologies of other places where the returning of a son or a birth of a wonder child.
They all like interconnect.
Yeah.
So you can say this story
culture
took it this direction, and this story took it that direction, and like the roots of this story are one thing, and then it branched off into all of these different things, which can be appreciated, but it doesn't mean that it makes it right or real, right? Yeah. Can I just say, I'm so proud of myself, because the one tradition that came up when my kids were little was the elf on the shelf. And I hated the idea. I loathed the idea of having an elf on the shelf, and I never got one.
Not me either.
I never got one, but my children were so disappointed. And every year they'd be like, "Oh, we're gonna get an elf on the shelf." I was like, "No, we're not."
Do you know what I tell my kids? I tell them that other kids need to know, because they're so naughty that they have to have somebody
watching them all the
keeping
time.
an eye on them.
I'm like, can you imagine?
And I was like, you guys don't need one.
Every night having to do something different. I was like, I don't have the energy for
Why
this.
are we doing this to ourselves at Christmas time?
No.
Guys, stop. Ask yourself, do I really want this in my life? Now that I know the whole gnome story, I'm like, the elf on a shelf makes sense because it kind of coincides with every house having its own gnome and things like that. But then the obligation of like, oh, I have to make this magical for my kids. Guess what? The world is already magical, okay? The folklore behind the gnomes being in your home is already so magical and wonderful. And you could absolutely invite that tradition into your home. I might start that. I might say like our home. Well, we actually already have. It wasn't like a Christmas time or Yule type of thing, but we our local coffee shop sells these cute little house gnome things that she makes out of like knitted socks and things like that, and little beards. And you can find them at Ground to Earth.
Okay.
They're for sale up there. Anyway, I got obsessed with them. I bought one for every teacher, all of my kids' teachers.
Oh my gosh.
Because you have little teacher ones with like A+ chalkboard on, that they're holding. I'm not usually into like cutesy little things like that, but for some reason the gnome folklore and culture and the throwback to that was so appealing to me. I wanted to share it with everybody. So I got one for our house. He holds a little coffee cup. So he sits next to our coffee machine.
Huh.
And we named him Bark. Well, he told me his name was Bark.
Oh, okay.
I just
That's his name.
take it with a grain of salt, whatever you believe. I felt strongly that his name was Bark. And I thought he can represent the spirit of our house. And so we have left him offerings. We leave him things like little cookies we bake or whatever. If we make breakfast, we'll like leave him a plate. And I just change that out. So the kids all know Bark, he sits there next to the coffee machine. And he's just like our home's protector. And when I lose or the kids lose something in the house, I'm like, go ask Bark if he'll give it back. So we'll go and like say, Bark, we need our shoes, like they're lost. And I don't know why it works, but it does. And again, you could think I'm totally crazy, but it is magical.
Yeah.
And I do believe there is a spirit of our house. And I do believe that just having that little gnome stuffy sitting on our counter creates an interaction with the spirit of our house that I think is more tangible. So all I'm saying is it's already magical. I don't have to make Bark go around doing stuff every night.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that.
I'm not going to say I'm not
Just-
entertained by the ones that I see online because sometimes they make me laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, the people that take the time to create these little scenarios with their elf on the shelf,
The obligation.
kudos to you guys. But are you exhausted? Because I'm exhausted and I don't
It's
even
not just every day in December or whatever, but then next year and the year after that and the year after that. And I was, the minute I saw everybody going crazy over it, I was like, no, I will not be adding another thing to my plate. Don't need it.
No.
So yeah, when my kids have like brought it up or mentioned it, I use the naughty. I'm like, those other kids are naughty enough that they need an elf.
Do you guys
You
feel
guys
like you
need
need
it.
someone?
You feel like you need someone to watch out for you?
Hmm.
Well, maybe they do. My kids are a little naughty.
All kids are naughty.
All kids are naughty. My kids are little.
Here's the thing, if you think about it, that's creating shame.
I know.
Is it not? It's like I know you're not behaving.
Right.
So I'm going to get this little elf to pay attention and watch you all the
Watch
time
over you.
so that you'll behave yourself enough to get gifts from Santa.
And the threatening of coal for your, like if you're naughty.
You
and things
bring
like
me
that.
home. Bring it. I want all the rocks. Bring them to me.
Yeah. You're going to get rocks in your stocking. It is. They are.
It's something
Really
out
are.
there. It's something out there.
You're going to get rocks in the stocking for sure. They'll love it too. But yeah, the shame that it creates.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also said as a witch, I'll be like, do you know how hard I work to keep the fae out of our house? I'm not inviting one in.
Yes.
I've said that many times too.
Hmm.
Where I'm like, I have warded and protected this house. I'm not letting a member of the fae in that causes mischief. Are you kidding me? No way. So I have a couple of excuses. So that's great. I haven't shown this up close. So as we're wrapping up, I want to make sure everybody can see the malachite so you can see all the little details. It's gorgeous, guys. Look at that.
The different patterns that malachite forms. You'll see a little bit of blue in it. So it's got some mixture of chrysocolla. Chrysocolla and malachite grow together very frequently.
This one's
Yeah.
I just love all the designs and patterns. It reminds me of
Mhm.
like watercolor painting or ink painting. It's all just flows into each other. It's creates these.
Yeah, it's Mother
cells.
Nature's art right here in the crystals. Talk about it a lot, and people are like so fascinated with crystals, and they'll be like, "Is this real?" Like, yeah,
Is this natural?
yeah.
I know. That's
It is kind of mind-boggling though to think that this was naturally created by the earth.
right.
I mean, obviously it was pulled out of the earth and polished to bring out the beauty, but it's like, yeah, you find all of these things out in nature. I don't personally, I get that a lot too. Do you find all these yourself? I'm like, I wish.
I
I
know.
wish I could go to Madagascar. I wish I could go to the Congo.
No.
I wish I could go to Brazil. I wish I could go to all of these places and find all of these natural beauties. For now, I get to appreciate them from the people that actually went out and found them and polished them and brought out their natural beauty. And I get to be that conduit between bringing them here and finding them.
It would be
people come
cool
and find
though.
them,
Next
but,
level to be like, pull it from the earth, work with it, shaping it, polishing it, and then
moving it.
moving it to the next.
That's the
space.
goal.
It'll be amazing.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
So we'll get there. But yeah, it's an amazing crystal. So if you don't have malachite, or even if you do, you should add more because it's a beautiful energy. You can find it here in the crystal shop, Riverton, Utah, right by Cinemark Theater in Mountain View Village. RisingMoonMinerals.com, Rising Moon Minerals on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We're everywhere. And get yourself some crystals for Christmas or get them for your loved ones.
Highly recommend it. I highly recommend, because I try not to get just all candy for my kids for their stocking stuffers and things like that. But man, I don't know if I know anybody that wouldn't be thrilled to have, even if they're not really super into crystals or rocks. If it's like you give it as a gift, they're like, I picked this out specifically for you, and they're like, wow, this is beautiful, amazing.
It's an energy exchange. The energy you put into picking it out for them. A lot of people overthink, I don't know if they're going to like this. And all I really can think and explain to people is they're going to like it.
Yeah.
Right. The energy that you're putting into coming in here or even looking at it online and saying, I want to get this specific thing, piece, crystal, rock, whatever it is. And I want to then give it to this person. That's so meaningful and thoughtful.
Yeah.
That I can't imagine you going and giving that to someone and going, what's this?
Yeah.
I didn't ask for this. And if they are, then they have issues. So.
Well, I mean, if you know the person well enough to know, like, oh, my friend or my cousin has been talking about starting a business, or they've been talking about how they want to find love, or if you know that person, so you go in with the intention of like, I'm going to get them a crystal that's about love. I'm going to get them a crystal that's about abundance, so that when they're starting their business, this can be the crystal that helps
bring in that energy.
And then even if they're not like believers in all of that, they're like, rocks are rocks, energy, whatever. You'll say, I picked this out specifically for you because I know you want success in your business. They would have to be heartless to not think that's really special and really beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I highly recommend it as a gift exchange. And the zodiac signs we talked about on that last episode. So go back an episode and listen to our episode on gifts, because we talked about how the little cards on all of the crystals have a list of zodiac signs. So if you know their sign, it's another great way to pick out a gift for them and say, I know they're Capricorn, so I'm going to get this crystal for them. So yeah,
a lot of great ways to guide, but a lot of times it's this person that I'm thinking about buying for. I know that they want this, or they're struggling with that, or whatever it is, and then you can find a crystal that will support that energy, and it's beautiful. I love helping people find gifts and navigate that whole kind of uncertainty that comes with gift giving.
Yeah.
And going, a lot of people come in and get really overwhelmed too. They'll walk in and they're like, oh yeah, I'm searching for gifts. And they're like, yeah, I'm going to come back.
Yeah.
They do that a lot too.
Yeah.
So it's
So
totally
like, okay,
fine.
let's just focus in on the person you're shopping for.
Right.
What are they like? What do they need? What are they talking about a lot lately? That's a good clue.
Yeah.
So yeah, go check me out at Prism Healing. If you are looking to gift somebody something, an experience, might I recommend a tarot card reading? I can do those in person or virtually over Zoom. We have a great time either way. So that's a great thing to experience for yourself or for a gift for a friend. I do energy healing sessions. We talked a lot about that on the podcast. So you can go to prism-healing.com to find all of the things that I'm doing. Healing Through Art is coming up in January. I have it on the calendar, so you can see that on my events tab, or when you scroll down on my website under the events section, you'll see Healing Through Art. So if you're interested in experiencing what that might be like, it's also awesome in person or over Zoom. We've done that before. Gave that a try last month, and we have one person over Zoom, and I was like, all right, let's see what they get out of this, if it's worth it. And she did great. It was awesome. She was in the experience with us from her home. I loved it. So if you're interested in trying that, that's a great experience to also give somebody too. And you can find me all over the place. Go follow us at our Instagram, practically _magic_podcast is the Instagram. And that's a great spot to connect with us if you wanted to send us a message, ask us a question. If there's a topic you'd like to hear us talk about on the podcast, it'll give us some ideas for when we come back after a little break. This is our last time recording for a couple of weeks, and then we'll come back after our holiday break. So enjoy some throwback episodes. We're going to pick out some favorites from past episodes and re-release those in the next couple of weeks. So you will not be bored and you will not be short of material or things to listen to from us. And if you don't get a chance to see you for them, I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Thank you to our sponsors, Rising Moon Minerals. Thank you to Ride the Wave Media for producing our podcast. And go check out Just Blaine. He's got a whole thing going on too. He and I have been doing some side projects together called Parallel Frequencies. So go check that out and see what that's all about. I won't tell you more than that at this moment in time. But Suntrack community. So go make magic, witches and wizards. We'll see you next time.
That was awkward.